I am just bringing you along with me. Side note, Clement has an infatuation with eating all of my hair bows, so I can't find any evidence. He just chews them, leaves them. It's very upsetting. Anyways, I have no hair clips, so let's get dressed. Starting to realize why I didn't want a puppy. All of my reasons. My husband kept asking for a puppy. I kept saying, no, let's just let our other 2 dogs die. They're old. And then we saw this one and I couldn't pass him up. Dang it. When me and my husband first got married, we literally sat down and had the conversation of, do you want kids? I specifically remember both of us saying yes and only one. Just one. We're fine with one, okay? We agree? Just one. You know, my dad, me and him were out at the bonfire outside of our house, and we were sitting down, and he was telling me about how when we were being born, they didn't really have ultrasound. They didn't use ultrasound, and so they did not know what we were until we came into the world. And I told him, I was like, that's really, really fascinating. And I didn't tell him at the time, but I was actually actively trying to get pregnant with my first child. And so I told him, I said, well, you know what, Dad, in honor of you, if I ever have a baby, you know, kind of laughing because I was like 28, 29 at the time, I said, I will not find out if it's a boy or a girl. And so lo and behold, a couple months later, I get pregnant and I kept my promise. I did not find out, and it drove my husband crazy, so much so that he was like, on their second child, we have to know. Third child, have to know. But with our first child, with Aiden, we did not know. And honestly, it was so beautiful. Not that there's anything wrong with figuring it out or finding it out. Either way is fine in my eyes because I've done both. But there's something extra extraordinary about not putting any kind of preposition on who my child may be or who they may not be until they even come into the world. You know, I feel like now in our day and age, there's so many people that maybe your dad played soccer, and so he finds out his wife's pregnant with a little boy, and he says, okay, well, I want, he's going to be a little soccer star, and he already buys him a little jersey before he even, is in this world officially. I think that you're already trying to force who you are on your child, and we never know how our child's going to be, how they're going to act, what they're going to like. We just don't know. And so I think that was one beautiful thing that came from it, is I never was concerned about whether or not Aiden was going to like the things I like, or if he was going to like the things his dad liked, because I did not know. I did not know if he was a boy or a girl. And the moment that they brought that little baby into the world, the doctor had told me as I was sitting there pushing that we always get the dad the honor of saying if it's a boy or girl to tell the mom. And she flipped him in such a way that I saw that he was a boy, and I couldn't even wait for my husband. I just shouted out, "It's a boy." I was so excited. I was grinning from ear to ear and crying and all the emotions. If you ever had a baby, if you've ever worked so hard to get a child out of you, you've never experienced this kind of love, this kind of deep, deep love. That I would even say that this is the only kind of love that you could even closely remote to the love of Christ for us. In that moment, they whisked him away and cleaned him up, and they brought him back and they put him on my chest. And I remember looking at my husband in that moment, and I said, we're going to have another baby. I didn't even wait. I don't even think, sorry fellas, I don't even think I had birthed my placenta. I was ready for baby number 2. Now, we went the next couple years and we ended up getting pregnant again, and we had a miscarriage, and it was horrific. And for a year, I was so upset about this because I had so many hopes and dreams for this child, and I already knew what pregnancy was like. I already knew what it felt like to have a baby cake from the inside of me. I already knew what it was like to hold a child in my arms, and all of those thoughts and feelings of what I was going to have just poofed, disappeared, and my heart was broken for a long time. And then I got pregnant with Lexi, and I was so grateful, and also so terrified for the first 5 months. I had a lot of anxiety. I was just so worried that something was going to happen to her, and lo and behold, God was so good to me, and Lexi came into this world. And And then I got pregnant again, and I didn't even think I was even trying to have a baby number 3. And I just said, one day after church, I said, Jackson, just take me to Food Line. I'm just going to run in and get a pregnancy test. And I came out and said, there's no way I'm pregnant. And I didn't even take it that day. I took it the next day, and then I texted a picture to my husband, and I called him immediately. I said, check your phone. And it said pregnant. And I was like, I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to do. Can we fit a baby number 3 in our house? I don't even know. But my heart swelled once again with joy, with that same love. There is so much confusion going on right now in our society where they just keep telling these young girls that, that we need pro-choice, that we need to be able to choose whether or not we as women should or should not have babies. If we get pregnant outside of wedlock or even in wedlock and we don't want to have a child, we don't have to, because we can just take it out. We can just remove it. It's not that big of a deal. They make it out like it's nothing. There's so many people in this world who are longing and desiring to have a child. I was one of those people who cried and cried over trying to get pregnant and didn't get pregnant, and tried to get pregnant and didn't get pregnant. And God was so, so good to me, and he continues to bless me. And I pray he blesses me more because I love babies. I'll tell you what, in all the things that I have done in my life, I have traveled the entire United States. I have driven a semi-truck that was over $1 million. I have literally met super famous people. I have been so far. I have done so much. And at the end of the day, I would give all of that away. Every one of those moments to have more children, to have started younger, being married and having kids. Because I tell you what, even though the days are long and the hours can be rough, every time I hold one of my babies, my heart swells with that same joy, with that same peace, and with just a glimmer of that same love that Christ has for me. Guys, I don't know where you are today, and I don't know what you're going through, but we need to stop listening to what society tells us about life. Life is sacred. Life is God's, not ours. We need to stop trying to take control of it, and we need to stop trying to be in charge of it, because it is his. It is sacred, guys. And I promise you that if you're a girl right now and you don't know if you want to have kids, or you're not sure, or maybe you're looking into abortion, or you're just scared, I promise you that every day I would eat cereal out of a cardboard box with my babies, if that's what it meant. Because I know that having a child and having nothing would bring me more joy, more hope, more peace in this life than having a mansion and having no one to share it with. My vocation in this world is to be a mom. I was called to be different, and so are you. And so let's stand up for the truth. Let's stand out. Let's look different from the world. Let's stop trying to fit in. You don't have to look like everybody else. Just because everybody else does this doesn't mean you have to do it. Just because everybody else says that this is okay does not mean that you have to stand for it. Christians were always called by Christ to look different, to speak the hard truths, to speak the things that nobody wants to hear. And we need to stop sitting around, and we need to stop pretending like there's not a spiritual battle going on all around us. There are so many people who are seeking the Lord, and who the devil is prowling around looking to destroy them, because he doesn't even want them. He doesn't want them to find not even a glimmer of the hope of Christ. But I tell you what, Christ will never give up on us. And as long as we continue to speak the truth, there are people listening, and there are people wanting to seek the Lord, to find the peace, to find that love of Christ that they so desperately long for. I hope that gives you hope today, and I pray that you will look at this world with new eyes.